Okay, so here we are at part 2. Now, I usually have the piece kind of doodled out inside my head how it's going to look like when I get done, and then I kind of roughly sketch it in. So as you can see here, I've just got a very, very primitive version of what, where the layout is. Nothing is serious yet. And I always do the background and stuff like that I know is going to be in what place first. Next, I start laying the letters, and just a little tip, I start off with very rough letter forms. So what I do, I start off and I kind of create the basis of the letter, then I start adding extensions to it. I do all my pencil strokes very light, and then as I get things more solidified, then I come back over top and start making the lines darker, so they're more, I guess you could say permanent for what I'm going to actually add into the piece. And this is going to be a reverse fill. What that means is that it's going to be light outline and light 3D with a dark color on the inside. Now I'll show you guys how, some tips for how I do that and do it effectively. So as you can see, I've drawn my letters out. Now I'm not teaching you how to do letters. Other people have videos about that shit. And you could spend a lifetime just on how letters are put together and what you do to create them. But this is the sketch that I have for the letters that I'm going to do today. Now, to do my reverse piece, I'm basically going to use, it's all blue. So I'm going to use this light blue Twin Touch first. I'm going to outline the entire piece and put the 3D in. Now, the nice thing about doing reverse fills is if you get up on this, you'll see that I didn't really, try too hard to be exacting with it, because that's going to actually make all the details shine out. So you don't have to be exact when you're doing a reverse fill with your outline, because I'm going to put a halo around this, and this is going to be the fills. This is going to touch up and get all the fine lines. You can't get too fine with these, because if you look at the point, the tip of it, it's not very sharp. Whereas, if you look at the tip of this, it is. Here's some basic tips for how I do these reverse pieces. Now, the first thing I do is, after I've got, the 3D already done, I actually trace the outline of the fill very carefully with this fine line felt tip pen. It's very important to know your markers, right? So what kind of different markers are you using? I'm using these felt tips, and I'm using these Sharpies. Now, I know I already said this before, but I'm going into more detail because it's really important to understand that. These felt tips are water-based. Now what that means is that the ink, the pigment, or whatever you want to call it, is based upon dye that's been immersed in water, just regular water, and then loaded into the pen itself inside here, and it flows out the nib. Now, water-based markers like Crayola and RoseArt and stuff like that, if you put a dark color on top of a light color, it's fine. But if you put a light color on top of a dark color, then it's going to streak. So it's really important to remember the type of markers you use impact how you interact with them. Sharpies, Twin Touches, Copics, Prismas, Bic Markets, these are all alcohol-based. That means that the pigment is immersed in alcohol as opposed to water. So with those, actually, you don't have to do the traditional dark over light. You can go light over dark and actually get good blending effects, as I'm going to show you later on. When we get to the moon, which is right here, I don't know if you can see that outline or not, I'm going to go from the darkest black and grays all the way out to white. And I'm going to go dark to light when I actually fill it in. So just keep that in mind. As far as this reverse fill, as you can see, I've gone around it with the fine line felt tip, and then I go re-outline the area one more time with the Sharpie, so I don't have any mistakes, although there are things you can do if you have mistakes. Remember, when you're filling in, to try to fill in the same direction, if at all possible, to make your fill nice and smooth. And also, if you can, fill in the whole space in one stroke like this. This is how you really should do it. I didn't do it there because this dark color, it doesn't look that bad.